Hey guys, it's Nomi Konst. I'm here in New York at the YouTube studios where we've been filming all day. But I wanted to touch base on the news that you probably saw, which is that Representative Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, who's young, has announced that he is going to retire in 2018. Now, this came after he was profiled in a Politico story. Now, it's been reported since that President Trump has called him, and Paul Ryan basically said, no, I'm going to stay. So there's a little bit of mixed information out there. But I want to talk about what this means, because it's pretty bold. You know, he has contemplated retiring before. If you recall, he said that when Boehner had stepped down, that Paul Ryan was, he's young, he has a family, he didn't like the commute back and forth from Washington to Wisconsin. But I don't think that's actually the reason. I think that it's not just that the Alabama race really shocked Republicans, and the numbers are getting closer, and they might be expecting a wave based on historic precedent. When there's an unpopular president in the White House, Congress usually loses many seats in off years. But I think what really struck me was the wave that's happening, that could happen, I think really comes down to economics. Wisconsin is where there was a very clear strategic fight to take on unions and union bust, and they did it. You recall what happened with Paul Walker. Excuse me, there's some distraction in the background. You remember all of what was going on with the union busting in Wisconsin. Now, this was all strategic and, frankly, very much Koch-inspired Reaganomic types of politics, getting Republicans who aligned with libertarian values elected, not just in Congress, not just in the Senate, not just to the presidency, but really all the way down to the legislatures, and taking these unions on at the local level. Now, Randy Bryce, as you know, I'm sure you know, is a union worker. He was an activist who decided he was going to run for Congress. He also has run several times before, but running against Paul Ryan as a union activist, an iron worker who had battled cancer, who's a veteran, I mean, you could not come up with a more sexy to the media candidate. And he was a Bernie Sanders supporter, so I believe he was a delegate as well. So this is such an incredible story that you have an Ayn Rand libertarian whose tax bill is literally like his final crusade in Congress, running against a man who's outraised him this last cycle, who is a union worker. Now, I think that the polling that's about to come out, I've taken a look at some polling today, it shows that Randy Bryce is within the margin of error of defeating Paul Ryan, that Paul Ryan's numbers have dropped astronomically in the past 3 months. Now, is that just because of Paul Ryan, or is it because you have Donald Trump? I think it's a collective of there's many issues. You have the economic issues that people in Wisconsin are really feeling, and they are now clearly understanding the link between Paul Ryan's politics and Donald Trump's politics, and how they've been union busting, and how those communities, especially in the Midwest, are facing massive. There's just been a lot of union busting going on. So, what does this mean for 2018? Does it mean that Paul Ryan's not able to raise money for himself, and therefore he could lose, and that's why he's stepping out? Does it mean that his primary challenger is going to hurt him? Or, maybe there's other people who could fund him. You could go to the RNC or the congressional committee, or there's some super PACs who could throw in money. But why is he stepping out of the race in 2018 and not in 2020? Well, I really think that it's going to be an embarrassment, and he's going to own the embarrassment in 2018 when Republicans lose. Now, if you had more people that were like Randy Bryce, more union activists running across the country, without a doubt, I think there could be a wave. It's not just about Democrats winning by 1 point here and there and spending millions and millions of dollars. I think that Democrats could essentially raise and spend way less money if they ran people who were connected to working class issues, people who were involved in workers' movements, more union members, more people come from working class communities. I mean, that's they feel the effects of libertarian, Koch brother, Paul Ryan policies directly, and they can speak from that. So, Randy Bryce, literally running against one of the most powerful Republicans whose bread and butter is to rip apart unions and hurt workers' rights. And he has come within, the margin of error a whole year in advance, just about a year in advance. Now, imagine going after way less powerful and popular Republicans. I think that Democrats could have a real shot. And I don't think it's going to cost, $10 million, $15 million. I don't even think you necessarily have to raise $3 million in some swing districts. I think that there's a real opportunity to run on these values because they're so unpopular. People are connecting the dots between Koch brother policies, and but you have to run workers. You have to run people who are connected to the economic values that are going to get us out of this situation. You can't fight libertarian, extreme far right, capitalist policies with a lukewarm capitalist. It's just not going to work, and that's why Randy Bryce is able to come so close to Paul Ryan. And if you've noticed his style, he's taken him on head on. So it's a fascinating race. I definitely think you guys should pay attention. But I do think that this is more than just Paul Ryan and his distaste for Washington and his exhaustion with Washington. I think that he is, very close. Randy Bryce outraised him this last quarter against the Speaker of the House. So some of it's fundraising. Some of it is he probably doesn't want to be embarrassed. Some of it is he doesn't want to own a massive wave of losses, which we all know Donald Trump probably won't own. And he's complained about having to commute to Washington a lot in the past. So really interesting to watch. I'm going to be paying close attention. Hopefully we'll get up to Wisconsin soon and cover more of what's happening. Maybe we'll jump over to Minnesota too, we'll just maybe a little Michigan. I want to see what is happening right now in regions where, pro-business libertarians have really devastated these communities and, taken over some of the legislatures and city councils and have gone to war with, workers. So I'm Nomi Konst. Stay tuned. Next year is going to be an interesting year, and I will make sure to cover these races. All right, take care.